This Beretta 21A Bobcat is definitely one of the coolest 22 pistols in my collection. This unique tip-up barrel semi-auto 22 is not only a collectible firearm, but also a very functional and reliable pistol. Captivating, attractive, and dare I say charming, this small Beretta opens up conversations of why and what for. If you mention a 22 for self-defense, they're all going to come out of the woodwork and tell you you're wrong. They, being the ballistics police relating to cartridges that have the primer around the edge of the base to explain the likelihood of ignition failures as it pertains to 22 rimfire. Oh yes, they come out emerging of a place of obscurity or a place of seclusion, crawling out of the interior wooden fittings of the fibrous interweb, the baseboards or moldings to tell me I'm wrong. But I've already told myself this fact, this all-knowing truth that 22s might fail, or they will fail. In the world of bad guys stopping, a failure equals a really bad day. But it dawned on me, I have no idea what I'm talking about unless I give it a fair shake. What, if any, value is here? Is it recoil management? Is it the cost and availability of the 22? Or my admitted cool factor want to find this inoxidizable handgun a place in my rotation? The oddly above average reliability of this Beretta has given me pause. Maybe, just maybe. I'm not saying I'm going to carry it, but I'm not saying I'm not going to carry it either. The double-action, single-action trigger is a duality of epic proportion. On one side of the coin there is a manageable, light enough single action that makes sense for the size and purpose of this pistol and repeats consistently to hit what you're aiming at. And on the other side, a double-action trigger that's like moving a boulder with quick mood swings from grinding pebbles to pushing a sofa up a flight of stairs. Although avoiding the double-action trigger is a cheat you can do at the range, this is not an option when life's camera is rolling. It's one of those things that you just have to do. Learning the not-so-perfect trigger is paramount if you want this to be a companion. Maybe my example will clean up over time, or I got the best in show for the heaviest trigger at the Show Us Your Grittiest Double-Action Trigger talent show. But hey, the single action is nice. But it makes sense once you think about negating an accident in your pocket. I'm not switching up the safety to put this on safe. I'm not carrying this in single action to take advantage of the lighter trigger pull because then I would need to use the safety. I do not like safeties. I like simple. Present pistol, pull trigger, bang. No switches, no sliding or racking, no thinking. So it turns out the heavy trigger is a pro swimming in a sea of contras, and it works for me. Long, heavy, gritty, and inconsistent is all the safety I need because it will not go off in my pocket. Turns out I do like it. I also like the fact that this pistol is all metal. Short of the plastic grips, every part of this pistol is made from steel. All the bits such as the trigger, safety, magazine release, and the mag itself are steel. The frame is made from aluminum, with the slide and the barrel being made from stainless steel, or Inox, as Beretta likes to call it. Inox or Inox steel is a steel alloy containing a minimum of 10.5% chromium and a maximum of 1.2% carbon by mass. It's more commonly known as stainless steel. Inox is derived from the word inoxidizable, which means that which cannot oxidize or incapable of rusting. The slide on this pistol is very, very difficult to rack. The actual effort and strength needed to operate the slide is surprising to say the least. From the outside looking in, the tip-up barrel is a somewhat obvious cure for this hardship. If a person cannot rack the slide on this pistol, the tip-up barrel makes chambering around easier than managing the resonant stout recoil springs. But this advantage does not come without a cost. If we first take a look at field stripping this pistol, it will shed some light on the cause and effect of the tip-up barrel. This pistol has a few qualities that cause unloading, clearing malfunctions, and problem solving to be different and somewhat complicated. Taking the pistol down illustrates how easily the slide is released from the frame. Indeed, after the barrel is tipped up, the slide simply pops right off. The slide snaps back on easy as well. A very simple task of maintenance is a positive in itself, but I must stress the point when the barrel is unlatched and or tipped up that the slide is in a position to be undone if pressure is applied. Another point is that this pistol does not have a physical extractor, as it solely relies on gas pressure to remove spent brass. And lastly, there's no slide lock feature either. Tip up the barrel to unload. Tip the barrel to clear a failure to fire or failure to eject. Use gravity or a launch technique. Use your fingernail or a pocket knife, whatever works for you. But do not tip the barrel for a stovepipe or the dreaded double feed. If the slide is rearward during a malfunction, the pistol just might field strip itself if the barrel is released. The takeaway here is the slide needs to be fully forward if you are to use the advent of the tip-up barrel. First strip the mag for a double feed, then tip the barrel. For a stovepipe, rack the slide or strip the problem round with the palm of your offhand, then tip the barrel. Nobody likes it when Murphy's Law shows its true form if you are ill prepared. Anything that can go wrong will go wrong. If you want to use this pistol, then you must first learn how to use this pistol. For such a small handgun, the grip is surprisingly ideal. No complaints at all, just wide enough and tall enough ergonomically to feel faultless. Being a fan of pocket pistols, I am familiar with a not-so-good firing grip to take advantage of concealability, but not in this case. This Beretta feels like a larger handgun than it actually is. The sights are extremely low profile, which is just another way of saying hard to acquire. Repeated presentation has grown muscle memory in regards to the grip angle and finding the sights without searching for the most part. Although I do falter at times, to be honest I find myself point shooting when I run the pistol too fast. A first impression of the magazine release location seems strange, but keep in mind it is designed for your offhand. If it was located anywhere else, I would probably accidentally release the magazine with my dominant hand. In no way, shape, or form does my right hand touch the release at all. My offhand must both depress the magazine release and strip the mag. I say strip as the magazine has a very lazy deployment. Removal and insertion of the magazine is not quick at all. While inserting a mag, there is almost no wiggle room for error. The slightest bit of off from dead center amplifies a grabby, troublesome experience, and utilizing speed increases this issue. I find slow and steady to be the best approach to get the job done. The barrel release latch can be utilized by either hand. I favor my dominant hand, although I do need to break my firing grip to do so. But if I'm tipping the barrel, there is some task or problem solving that requires my offhand to be free. The safety is easy and intuitive to turn off, and not so easy to turn on. Although I stated I don't like safeties, which is true, understanding the condition of the safety is quite necessary. Swiping down for turning the safety off has a nice audible and tactile click that feels natural. Turning the safety on applies pressure to a very small area of my thumb, which is frankly unpleasant, so I use my offhand's index finger to pull up for safe. I have spent some quality time evaluating this Beretta, while also keeping track of all positives, failures, and or malfunctions, and the results have surprised me. So far in the last 800 rounds fired, I have had 3 stovepipes, and that's it, with my choice of ammo being CCI Mini Mag 40 grain round nose. No other failures at all, just the 3 stovepipes. In the back of my mind it seems I am searching for failures to fire, failures to eject, and so on, almost like I'm waiting for it to happen, not trusting that it won't happen. In truth, I am right on that bandwagon that says a rimfire will fail to fire, and they do. I've seen it many times with 22s in my collection, although my other 22s are for range use, for fun, for trigger time, and frankly, I just brush it off and chamber the next round, and pay no mind to it. But not with this handgun. I have been paying attention. After all, it's a self-defense gun, a pocket pistol, a backup defensive tool that keeps on working. This is the first time I have given a .22 firearm the fair shake needed before passing judgment regarding reliability. I am truly surprised by my results so far. I have come to the conclusion that it's all about the recoil, the kick, the backward movement of a gun when it is discharged. The advantage of this wonderful handgun is the lack of recoil. Yes, ammo cost is a large factor as well. Shooting rounds that cost pennies instead of quarters allows for endless trigger time. Also, the tip-up barrel is attractive to the right end user, as long as such a person can manage all the ins and outs of the feature. Even if you scoff at the idea of a 22 for self-defense, this beautiful handgun will make a great addition to anyone's collection, even if it's just a conversation piece or a range toy. The lack of recoil is something that my own future may dictate as a needed attribute, be it accumulating age, an injury, or an unforeseen medical issue down the road. The day may come where I cannot handle recoil from the normal pistols I currently rely on for self-defense. Then this Beretta will find its way into my pocket. If you are going to carry a 22 for self-defense, then you may consider this Bobcat, as it's possibly the best concealable 22 semi-auto on the market.